Well, welcome back viewers, this is Brian the 3 Topics Gamer here to bring you another episode of my Versus series. This time we will be venturing back into the Devil May Cry franchise and having Nero from Devil May Cry 4 take on V from Devil May Cry 5 to see which one of these demon slayers would walk away the winner. So if you do happen to enjoy this matchup, please feel free to give this video a like and share to all your friends, and if you haven't done so already, I would love it if you could smash the subscribe button to keep track of me and all the remaining matchup videos I have planned for the rest of this final season of my Versus series. So without wasting any more time, let's go over these two awesome combatants. At the time of his introduction to the franchise, very little was known about Nero's origins, but later on we would find out that he was in fact the son of Virgil. During his youth, he was raised in the city of Fortuna, and as an orphan he would be taken in by Kyrie's and Credo's family. Nero got his name from the black blanket that he was found in, and Sanctus made multiple references that Nero may be a descendant with Sparta's blood. While he was growing up, Nero would be taken in by the Order of the Swords, which was a religious group that worshipped the Dark Knight Sparta. On one day of the Festival of the Blades, while Nero was watching his friend Kyrie's performance, he witnessed the attempted assassination of the Order's leader by the demon hunter Dante. Nero would engage Dante, and it was during their battle that Nero's injured arm would suddenly heal itself, and it was then discovered that Nero then had access to demonic powers. Using his newly found abilities, Nero was able to defeat Dante and force him into a retreat. Nero was then ordered by his friend Credo to pursue Dante, who had been seen heading towards the Order's headquarters. While on his journey to reach the headquarters, Nero would run into Arcanus, the Order's chief alchemist, and Arcanus would reveal that he was creating a series of Hellgates in order to use them to summon demons for his experiments. While in Arcanus' lab, Nero would then discover the broken sword Yamato, which once belonged to Dante's brother, and using his own demonic powers was actually able to repair the weapon, thereby unlocking an even greater power within himself. Using Nero's friend Kyrie as bait, Sanctus lured Nero to a giant statue named the Savior, and managed to defeat Nero, taking the Yamato sword to form the core of the Savior and absorb Nero into the Savior's core. Later on, Dante would recover the Yamato sword and manage to force the Yamato through the outer shell of the Savior, which awoke Nero from the Savior's heart. With Dante battling the Savior from the outside and Nero battling Sanctus from the inside, the two managed to destroy the Savior once and for all. To solidify their new alliance, Dante allowed Nero to keep the Yamato sword, and in their final moments together, Nero asked if Dante and him would meet again, and Dante would just vaguely wave as an answer. During the event of Devil May Cry 4, Nero was an 18-year-old young man standing about 6 feet tall, and although his official profile states that he is indeed a half-human, half-demon hybrid, I do not believe that Nero carried many properties of a demon at this point in his life. During his upbringing, it is clear that Nero kept himself in prime physical condition, capable of keeping up with the movements of demons, and thanks to his demonic arm that Nero now has, he did seem to gain some more exceptional levels of performance and special traits that were far beyond that of a standard human. But I don't think it was by too much in some cases. Due to Nero's upbringing and training with the Order of the Swords to combat the likes of demons, his physical build would have focused on enhancing his strength, durability, stamina, along with increasing his speed and flexibility. When it comes to Nero's collection of weapons, he will be bringing two into this engagement. His main close-range weapon, which was his primary sword, which dubbed the Red Queen, which was a customized version of the blades that were normally used by the Order of the Swords, and it was designed by Arcanus. It's not officially a devil arm, but it does have a unique construction which makes it extremely powerful. It was also been specifically customized with a motorcycle-like gear shift which, when pulled, sprays a flammable propellant across the blade and its opponents and allows it to increase its power with its blows. His long-range weapon was that of the Blue Rose revolver, which was a uniquely designed revolver that had an over and under barrel style, and this allowed him to fire 2 magnum rounds with each pull of the trigger. Nero can also use his demonic energy to charge up shots with the Blue Rose, allowing it to deliver even more damage. When it comes to Nero's capabilities with his demonic powers, his primary tool was that of his demonic arm, which was dubbed the Devil Bringer. The Devil Bringer, in all honesty, is pretty much just a glorified grappling hook. With the use of the Devil Bringer, Nero could grab enemies at a distance and pull them close to him, or and vice versa, he could actually grab an enemy and pull himself to them. He could also use his arm to rip demons apart or grab an enemy and bang them across the ground like a rag doll. With Nero absorbing the power of the Yamato's sword into his arm, this granted Nero access to a unique variation of the Devil Trigger ability. Using this power allowed him to use a demonic essence that was within his own blood, bonded with the power of the Yamato sword along with his own Red Queen sword, and when firing his Blue Rose revolver, he could actually summon laser swords along with every round that he fired. Being in this state also granted Nero a major advanced healing factor, which would allow him to battle for even longer periods of time, and was quite useful. Now, when it comes to V, after Virgil was freed from Mundus' control and retrieved the Yamato sword from Nero, he would then use the power of the Yamato sword to separate his body into two different forms. The demonic side would be known as Urizen, while the more human side would simply take the name V. Upon understanding that over time V's body would eventually break down, he would ally himself with the demon hunters Dante and Nero, who were both descendants of the Dark Knight Sparta, and unknowingly would aid him in order for him to reunite himself with Urizen. Unfortunately, during their first engagement with Urizen, both Dante and Nero would be defeated, and V would be forced to retreat with Nero in order to give Nero time to get stronger. After a period of time, V would go seeking the Sparta Devil Arm and would use it to wake Dante up, who had been missing since he was defeated by Urizen. Teaming up with Nero again, V would let the now more powerful Dante confront Urizen, but this time Dante would be successful in defeating him. As Urizen lay injured, V would stab him in the chest, reuniting himself with Urizen and therefore bringing back the now fully rejuvenated Virgil. V's only weapon that he'll be using for this engagement is a uniquely designed cane that he discovered after an engagement with some demons. The cane is believed to have been made of some sort of material that comes from the demon world, due to it not only possessing a small portion of demonic energy itself, but allowing V to channel his own limited demonic energy to power up the cane to deliver final blows to enemies. V's cane also allows him to perform teleportation in order to get up close and deliver attacks, and he can also perform a special attack called Royal Fork, which allows him to summon a series of canes in a similar manner to the summoning swords that Virgil used to strike down enemies, but this allows V to finish off targets. When it comes to V's collection of powers and abilities, though he is a hybrid like Dante and Nero, being half human and demon, because he was split apart from Urizen, he does possess a much smaller portion of demonic powers that he can call upon during combat, and relies on the aid of his three familiars to do the majority of the fighting. The first is Griffin, who is a talkative bird that V mainly uses to not only evade attacks, but to fire off various different attacks at long range with demonic energy. The second is Shadow, which takes on the physical form of a jaguar and is the fastest of the three familiars, and V mainly uses Shadow to perform up-close range attacks. The third and final familiar is named Nightmare and is the most powerful of all of these familiars, but can only be summoned when V activates his very own limited variation of the Devil Trigger ability. Nightmare takes on the form of a giant golem and uses his overwhelming physical strikes to dominate all enemies that V engages. As powerful as V's three familiars are, they do have their limitations. For starters, Griffin and Shadow can only take a small amount of damage before they must take some time to recover, and it is during that time that V is left completely vulnerable to attacks and must avoid attacks until they recover. On top of that, out of the three familiars that V has access to, only Nightmare can actually kill demons by itself, while the other two are primarily used to perform a series of different attacks to cause enough damage to then leave them open for V to deliver the final killing blow with his cane. Now that we've established both of these powerful demon hunters, it's time to reveal who I think the winner is going to be, and that winner is going to be Nero. Nero's going to take the W this time around, but this much weaker version of Nero, apart from the much stronger version that V is accustomed to, is going to have quite a challenge ahead of him. The biggest problem that V has as a combatant is that he is simply not a practical combatant in the direct sense, and operates more of a battlefield planner, relying on his familiars to do the majority of the work, while he performs the final killing blow. The greatest advantage that V has is his ability to attack his opponents with a variety of different attack sequences all at once in an attempt to overwhelm his targets. The biggest mistake that the majority of demons that battle V do is that they spend more of their time targeting him instead of going after the two familiars, treating them as nothing more than annoyances. But if one is to do so, it would leave V completely exposed, unable to attack, defend, and even evade effectively. Fortunately for Nero, by the end of Devil May Cry 4, he's had plenty of experience battling multiple different opponents at once that apply different attack methods in an attempt to throw him off his game, and he has successfully proven that he can contend with all of this. V's best option would be to bring out the Nightmare Golem familiar in order to overpower Nero, but V can only use Nightmare once he has enough time to use his variation of the Devil Trigger ability, but once that runs out, he then is once again left exposed. Nero has had some experience battling enemies of that kind of large size before, but sometimes it might be best for him to simply evade V until his Devil Trigger limit expires. In the meantime, Nero's own variation of the Devil Trigger ability would certainly allow him to fend off Nightmare until it goes away. What Nero would be able to achieve in this battle is to exhaust all of V's resources to the point where he would be left completely open to be cut down. I see this fight playing out like this. Nero would charge at V, but V would immediately order his Griffin and Shadow familiars to attack Nero. Every attempt that Nero would have in order to use his Devil Bringer arm to either grab V or get a shot off at him using his Blue Rose revolver would result with V simply teleporting while still ordering his Griffin and Shadow familiars to attack him from different directions. Nero then changes up his tactics and begins to start targeting the familiars using his Devil Bringer arm to slam Griffin, then immediately respond by attacking Shadow by cutting him down with his Red Queen sword. With both Griffin and Shadow down for a period of time, V has no choice but to activate his Devil Trigger in order to bring out Nightmare. At first, Nero attempts to engage Nightmare directly, but its massive size makes it very difficult to cause any meaningful damage. During this time, Griffin and Shadow would have had enough time to revive, and Nero now finds himself on a 3-on-1 assault, and seeing no other option, Nero activates his own Devil Trigger and is quickly able to knock out both Griffin and Shadow for the second time, while being able to evade Nightmare's attacks while delivering a series of attacks of his own to do just enough to hold it off, even if it's not doing too much damage. It's not long until V's Devil Trigger expires, causing Nightmare to disappear, just in time for Griffin and Shadow to recover once more. But Nero still has a little time left of his own Devil Trigger and knocks out Griffin and Shadow for the third time just as his time limit expires. With Griffin and Shadow out and V not having access to Nightmare anymore, Nero rushes V and grabs him with the Devil Bringer arm and finishes off by cutting him down with a series of attacks, ending the fight. I declare Nero, the son of Virgil, the winner. So that'll do it for my Devil May Cry matchup for this season, and I would love to hear your thoughts on how you believe this matchup will play out in the comments down below. And if you happen to have liked my breakdown video, I would really appreciate it once again, if you haven't by now, to give this video a thumbs up and smash the subscribe button to keep track of me and when my next matchup video will be uploaded. Speaking of the next matchup video, we are officially at the halfway mark, or technically past the halfway mark now, and only have 3 matches left for this season. For the next fight, we will be returning to the horror franchise of Resident Evil, but this time, why don't we do something a little bit fun in terms of a clash of timelines? Since all of you folks seem to think so highly of Resident Evil 4's remake version of Leon S. Kennedy, how about we have him take on someone that he never officially met? So, for the next matchup, we will be pitting remake Leon S. Kennedy from Resident Evil 4 against original timeline Albert Wesker from Resident Evil 5. And I have a feeling I'm going to have quite a lot of fun with this matchup. So I hope you guys are looking forward to it as well. And like always, thank you guys for watching, you're awesome, and I'll catch you all next time.